What's up, guys? This is going to be a part 2 to the wheel cleaning bucket, or the universal cleaning bucket, I guess I'm going to call it moving forward, and how to set it up. A couple things I forgot to mention in my last video, and I really wanted to just illustrate how this bucket works and, in my opinion, the beauty behind it. The biggest beauty is, like I said before, I was an auto body painter and I like to wet sand things. I don't always wet sand, I'll dry sand as well, but the beauty of wet sanding is the water constantly flushes out the contaminants and keeps your sandpaper sharp and clean. Well, same thing with this bucket. A lot of guys will just take a brush, for example, and they'll scrub a wheel and then maybe they'll rinse it off when they're done. And when something gets super dirty, like say for example I take this brush, scrub a super dirty wheel well, I'll rinse it off before I put it in the bucket. But it definitely works very, very well when you just let them saturate in the bucket like so. I didn't pump this bucket, so I basically put Dawn dish soap, Purple Power degreaser, as well as some laundry detergent. I like kind of those three products. I usually add a little bit of Technician's Choice thick blue car wash soap as well, which kind of gives it a lot of suds. But I didn't pump this bucket up with water to be able to make it sudsy, because I wanted you guys to see kind of the brushes and how they sit in the bucket and whatnot. But this is a phenomenal deal here, and I think it's amazing in how it works. Like I said in the last video, you know, you could use it for door jams, you could use it for a lot of times, like when I go around all the emblems and all the rubber trim with my Cocode brush, which is this guy. You know, I'll use this bucket as well. So I use this for pretty much everything for the most part. Not so much the interiors, but mainly exterior cleaning. You know, windows, door jams, wheels, wheel wells, anything pretty much that I want to kind of tackle, you know, a lot of stubborn spots with. One of the other biggest beauties of this bucket, and what I didn't cover in the last video, so basically I have a zip tie right here, and I also showed you guys the gear tie that I use, and I'll use that moving forward. However, you could use either one. But one of the biggest beauties of this is that you can actually, so I'll take my cutters, which I have on the side, and these are a little rusty because they sit in the side of the bucket. But I'll cut my zip tie, then I'll remove it, take my Purple Power off there, and then I'll separate the buckets. So this bucket kind of comes out of the other bucket. So there's your 5-gallon bucket with your Home Depot tool bag, and there's your, I'll call it like a 2.5-gallon bucket. I got that one from a buddy. Like I said in the last video, his wife worked at Wendy's. I think it was like a pickle bucket. But if it's in there perfect, and you guys might have to just find like a 2.5 or 3-gallon bucket, I would imagine Home Depot would have it. But here's the beauty. When you're done scrubbing whatever you're scrubbing, and say for example, there's a grit guard in the bottom here. So there's your grit guard. And so you remove this bucket, and then you can remove all the products in it, including the grit guard, and then you pour it out, and then you can rinse the bucket out. So that's the reason I did it. You know, I basically set it up as a removable product. That way you could remove the second bucket that sits in the 5-gallon bucket, and you can rinse it out, and then, you know, create a fresh bucket when you're done. So that's a huge thing I probably missed in the last video, but kind of thought it was very important. I'm going to go ahead and put this bucket back inside the other one, and basically I covered in the last video, I drilled a small hole right there, and then I take the handle to the 5-gallon bucket and kind of move it above the lip of the 3-gallon bucket, or the 2.5-gallon bucket. And then I'll take my little gear tie here. A little difficult one-handed, but it'll work. Hands are wet too, that doesn't help. But these gear ties are phenomenal, as I covered in the last video. So here's kind of how this whole thing works. I will show you as well. I'm gonna pump it up with a little bit of water. So there you go. You have a nice frothy mix. And now your brushes and whatnot are buried inside that bucket, and they're constantly being cleaned. So I thought this would be a good part 2 to my last video. And yeah, pretty simple to make, pretty cheap. I mean, obviously most guys have a 5-gallon bucket or in their garage or basement or something. You can get that little Home Depot tool bag. I'd imagine they're like, I think they were like $10 or something. And then, you know, get another 3-gallon bucket, as well as a, you know, most people have zip ties laying around, but if not, zip ties are super cheap. Or if you're so inclined, buy a gear tie. I'm a huge fan of gear ties. I use them on everything. Tie down straps, like when I'm tying off I actually use them to wind up my tie down straps. I have car tie down straps and just regular tie down straps. I wind up the strap and use them to hold the strap tightly, so I'm not pulling out like spaghetti out of a bag. So I tie them all up, and I can show you guys that in a future video. But yeah, these gear ties are pretty amazing. It's a pretty small one. I bought an assorted pack from Home Depot. You can get them online. I think they're made by Nite Ize. I think it's Niteize is the name of it. But super cheap, you know, cleaning bucket, and it houses all your tools and whatnot. So at any rate, hope you guys are having a fantastic day. It's a beautiful day here in Colorado, about 60 degrees, and just punching out some videos for you guys. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If there's a future video you guys want me to kind of put out for you guys, or a topic you'd like me to cover, I'd be happy to help you with that. And feel free to subscribe if you like. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.